construction industry on the program Property Talk.
Airing live every Monday at 12:30 p.m. on
Armed Forces Radio 107.7 FM, Abuja. Property Talk is proudly brought to you by WORIN Nigeria. Don't miss it.
This land is mine. It's not yours. Look at my documents here to prove that it is mine.
This land is not your own, no. Oga, you better go and look for your own land. See my own document here. I don't pay for this land detail. Now my name did the documents like this. Look at my documents.
But this land has always been my own land. I've known this land. I've had this land for a while now. It is mine.
Land dispute is as old as civilization itself. From building collapse to authorized demolition, boundary disputes, and even encroachment by real estate developers. The good news is that you can avoid these property issues and harness opportunities in the housing sector with the right information. Join us as we discuss everything real estate and the construction industry on the program Property Talk.
Airing live every Monday at 12:30 p.m. on
Armed Forces Radio 107.7 FM, Abuja. Property Talk is proudly brought to you by WORIN Nigeria. Don't miss it.
Good afternoon, beautiful people of Abuja. You are tuned into Property Talk, proudly brought to you by WORIN Nigeria, your trusted platform for everything real estate construction and property development. As always, we are here to educate you, to enlighten you, and to connect you with professionals shaping Nigeria's built environment. Today, we'll be diving into a super fascinating topic: designing for function and beauty, how architecture shapes the way we live. We often think of architecture as just walls, just buildings, just roof, houses, and things like that. But in reality, it's about how the space makes us feel. Architecture is about how the spaces we live in serve us, and how those spaces end up shaping our lives. And to help us dissect or explore the subjects today, we have an amazing guest with us in the studio. He's a creative mind and a professional architect who has contributed greatly to the Nigerian built environment. Please join me in welcoming architect Anzaki Faith Esla.
Thank you very much.
Did I get that correct?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay. It's great to have you on the show. It's such a pleasure to have you with us on Property Talk today. Architect Faith, well, we'll start by getting to know you better. I know I already mentioned your name, but let's meet you, want to know you better. Can you start by introducing yourself and, telling us what led you into architecture?
Okay.
Yeah.
As rightly mentioned, my name is Anzaki Faith Esla. I studied architecture at Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. I did my BSc and MSc all at ABU Zaria, yes.
Okay.
I've practiced in Lagos and in Abuja, just within Nigeria. I've practiced abroad.
Okay.
Yes.
That's like literally the hub of Nigeria.
Yeah. So I've also practiced in Maiduguri,
Oh, wow.
yeah, Borno State and in Nasarawa. So I've gone through the extent of the country. Yes, so you asked what led me
Yes.
to study architecture, what inspired me.
Yeah.
So right from childhood, I was very creative, and my parents picked it up. Like when I was in primary school, they noticed that I love to draw, I love
Oh, wow.
crafts and all that. So they took me to an art gallery.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
think
inspiring.
yeah, right from maybe primary 4 or 3. I can't remember exactly, but
Okay.
I was an apprentice for one fine artist in an art gallery.
Interesting.
Yes, so I did that all through my primary school and secondary school days. If I finished from school,
You to
I
the
go
gallery.
there, I learn how to draw, shade.
Yeah.
I was learning fine art, even though in school we didn't do fine art or technical drawing. So when I finished secondary school, I had a dilemma of what to study.
Okay.
And architecture wasn't like a teen. I dreamt of studying architecture. I was considering medicine.
Even with the
Yeah.
drawing and the
So
artistic
I just wanted to be someone that invented something.
stuff, okay.
You understand? I wanted to create something new. So I was checking, okay, what do these guys do? Physicists, what do they do? Yeah, so
sorry to cut you short. The fact
Okay.
that you mentioned physicist, I was about to say that you look like a physicist. About
Yeah, so I was just interested in inventing something, like creating
Yes.
something new. And then when I made inquiries. I settled for architecture because I knew how to draw, and you could like architecture is like creating new things
Yeah.
every time. So I just chose it, and yeah,
Wow,
that's
that's so
how I got into it.
inspiring. I mean, we need to shout out to your parents for catching that at such an early age. Not a lot of parents are
Yeah.
vigilant enough or observant enough to catch those early skills in their children. That's so inspiring. Every professional has their why they went into what they currently do and all of that. That moment that sets them on their path, right? So I would like to know what kind of projects have you worked on? Your area of specialty, are there areas of specialty as it relates to architecture, and what kind of projects have you worked on?
So I would answer the first one. What kind of
Okay,
projects have I worked on? In practice, right, which involves building, like where you have real clients that you have to build a project. It depends on the kind of clients you encounter, and I've worked mostly on residential projects. Yeah, in practice, I've built houses. Um, I've worked on like real estate projects. So in practice, those are the kind of projects that usually come around. But design-wise, I've worked on institutional design, as well as basically creative stuff. And what was the second question?
Okay. The second question is what area of specialty within the architectural space?
Okay, so my area of specialty is I would like to say sustainability.
Okay.
Yes, so I'm more interested and more focused on sus-
Eco-friendly.
yes, eco-friendly buildings, and specifically energy efficiency
Oh,
for buildings. So
okay.
yeah, in my projects, my MSc thesis, my BSc projects, I did research on building energy consumption, how to reduce it, how to use building integrated photovoltaics, building materials to generate energy, how to use building forms. So I'm basically focused on sustainability as well as fluid architecture. So if you go back to the architecture school in ABU, they used to call me the crazy architect. Yes.
Okay.
So let me.
Why? Why?
Okay, why?
did you call you the crazy?
So every time they give us a task in architecture school, you are basically doing assignments.
Okay.
So every course, you are just getting assignments.
Yeah.
Design this, come up with this, and every time they give us a task, what I come up with is always different.
Crazy.
Yes, it's always so. Even the lecturers, if they'll look for the crazy one. Yeah.
Wow, interesting. You clearly have an exciting journey already. I mean, but I'm curious to know how would you describe your design philosophy? What really inspires the designs that you come up with? For example, for writers or musicians will say when they were in the bathroom, they were taking a shower. Whenever the water touches their skin, inspiration comes. For some people, it is solitude. Other people, it is cars. What inspires your own design creativity, your creative process to new projects?
Okay. So firstly, every time I get a new project, I always aim to do something that doesn't exist, something that is out of the box, basically. So I just remembered one lecturer we had, Architect Mutala. Every of his course, if he gives you assignment, he says, think outside the box, think outside the box. So I aim to do something that is outside the box. Secondly, which you cannot ignore, is the client brief.
Oh, wow.
That
yeah.
in a big way
Of course.
determines the direction of your project, because ultimately the client pays for it. You're right, the client pays for it, the client builds it. He will live in it
Exactly.
most times. So the client brief determines the direction. Yes, so but firstly is out of the box. It needs to be out of the box. So my design philosophy, you asked, it goes back to sustainability. Yes, so that directs my.
Okay, I'm just curious. Do you have any mentors, any movement also that inspire? I mean, it can be difficult to link you up or to attach you with a mentor, because people who are quote unquote crazy, they don't want. People always say that you cannot cage creativity, right? So do you have any mentors? Do you have any movement? or things like that in people that have also inspired you or your creative journey?
Okay, so for a role model,
Yeah.
I would say I have a role model, which is Hadid. She's late, and sadly, I found out about her just I think around 2016. That was when she died.
Wow.
So that was when we started getting like real life projects in architecture school. And every time I design, like our seniors, those doing MSc will come and say, "Do you know Zaha Hadid? You design like your projects." Every time, everybody will say, they started calling me Zaha Hadid, basically. So I went to Google who Zaha Hadid was. She's an Iraqi architect, and she's in a field dominated by men,
Yeah.
which is like a big setback.
Yes.
That's number one. Number two, she did things that were out of the box, basically crazy designs, crazy shapes, crazy forms. It's like she was defying the rules of
Yeah.
architecture. So when I got to know about her, I researched about her, and I was like, we are like,
Oh, wow.
yeah, and I started following her. So that's my role model.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We'll open the phone lines. We'll allow people call in, and the number
Okay.
to call us on is 070-7242-6258. The number is 070-7242-6258. You can call in to ask your questions, seek inspiration, seek advice from architect Faith. Um, a lot of people think that architecture is simply about drawing. In fact, the layman will just think it's about scribbling stuff together and just drawing and handing it over to the client. But I personally know that there is so much more. The reason why I know there is so much more is because at some point in my life I also worked in a construction and project management firm where we had architects. So I will see the work that goes into bringing these drawings to life. I mean, it's a whole lot of work. But I would just like to know, how would you define architecture in your own words beyond the physical structure?
Okay, I would simply define architecture as problem solving,
Oh, wow.
because that's the entirety of what we do. So architecture is an art, it's a science, right? Combined together, you get architecture. Because there is an art component to it, and then there
Yeah.
is a science. Even the courses we do a lot of science. We do courses from all over different departments, right? Just to imbibe that in you. Yes, and then there is an art to it. It's not just math. There is an art to it. So it's a combination. But ultimately, what you are doing is you are solving problems. The client brings a problem to you, right from the brief stage to when you design, when you construct, when you hand over. You are constantly solving issues, and you are doing trade-offs, decision making.
Yeah.
So I would just say architecture is problem solving.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Rich conversation. Okay, so let's talk about the human side of architecture.
Okay.
How does architecture go beyond aesthetics to influence how people live and feel in space? We are really going to double down on the issue of aesthetics. I have a whole lot of thoughts as it relates to aesthetics.
Okay.
Because these days we are seeing that projects that are coming up are super aesthetically pleasing. In fact, you look at the aesthetic and sometimes you move into the building and you're like, what was the architect? I don't know if it's who we should blame now, whether we blame the architect or the engineer.
Mhm.
You'll be like, this is so beautiful, but what was the person thinking as it relates to functionality? But we are going to get there. So how does architecture go beyond aesthetics, to influence how people live and how they feel in spaces?
Okay. So first of all, I would like to say architecture is design itself is like you are creating a constitution.
Right.
Yeah.
Never heard of it like that.
Okay. So when you are speaking of functionality,
Yeah.
that determines the way you move.
Yeah.
You understand? Like the way you move, the way you interact with the space. It's like you are creating a set of rules. By every line, every stroke of line is a set of rules.
Either a restriction of
Yes. So it's the way the developers code. Every code line you are saying something.
True.
So yeah. You asked, repeat the question for me.
Okay.
Mm.
I asked how architecture beyond aesthetics,
Aesthetics.
influences the way people live and all of this.
Okay, so architecture influences how you feel in the space, how you live, the light, the color, the size of the space, right, and many many other things. Even the sound.
Yeah.
For instance, this room we are in
Yes.
it kind of has some padding. So if you speak, you feel differently.
True.
when we were at the courtyard,
Yes.
it felt different. At the reception, it felt different. Another reason is the materials that were used. For instance, the courtyard had like that artificial grass,
Yeah.
and then there was lighting from the top.
Yeah.
So the lighting, everything affects the way you feel in a space and the way you live. Another thing is biophilia, right? The integration of natural elements into a space, right? It affects the way I live, the way I interact with the space. There are studies that show that integration of biophilia into hospitals
Yeah.
help patients heal faster.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, it really does make a lot of sense, especially now where we are seeing that interlocking styles are covering up,
Yeah.
making it difficult for trees to be planted and making it difficult for these natural elements to be incorporated into buildings and into spaces. We are still going to double down on aesthetics and
Okay.
functionality. Because
Yeah.
before I got here, I was just thinking how are some ways that aesthetics hampers functionality. I was thinking about those, but we'll get there. We'll get there. So, would you say there is a psychological or emotional side to architecture?
Yes, there is.
So, for example, like how the space affects one's mood.
Yes, there is, and I think I just spoke about it previously. Yeah. So if I put you in a really small space,
True.
and I leave you there for a long time, it might make you become mad.
Yes.
Do you understand? So
Become
imagine you
affected
grow up.
psychologically.
Yeah, imagine you grow up living 20 years of your life in a
That's
very
not fine.
small space. I don't know if you get me. There is
Yes,
a
I
reason
do.
why people in Lagos behave the way they behave. I'm not
you're
throwing shades. I'm not throwing shades,
You're
but
throwing shades because I
yeah,
just
like
returned from Lagos.
yeah. So I've lived in Lagos, right? There is no space in Lagos.
There's no space.
Yeah, so if there needs to be a research that should be conducted. If you come to Abuja, if you enter along a cab, people are greeting you, and you're wondering why are they happy? Why are they greeting? But in Lagos,
Because of
everybody is
the space.
angry. Everybody is just
Nice.
yeah. So it's the architecture. I'm telling you.
I love this.
Yes.
I love this.
So okay.
Sorry, just hold the thought a bit. I just returned from Lagos last week.
Okay.
And every time I get to Lagos, immediately I arrived at the airport, the first thing I saw, the flight was a 6:30 a.m. flight.
Okay.
And it means we arrived there after past 7. At past 7, people were already fighting. And I'm like, where did you get the energy to be fighting around 7 a.m.?
You know?
It makes a lot of sense. It really does make a lot of sense. Okay, so let's move on. I think our listeners, especially people who build and design homes, can really learn from the things that you are saying. I have listed out some common examples of aesthetically pleasing buildings and features that often turn or become impractical and non-functional. But should I go to that? Yes. Okay, let me ask you this question. What are some of the biggest mistakes that you have seen people make when they focus too much on aesthetics, forgetting about functionality?
When they focus too much on aesthetics,
yes.
and about functionality. So before I answer that, I'd like to say that in architecture there are basically two rival school of thoughts. There's a school of thought that says form follows function, and there are a group of people that believe function follows form. So form follows function. It means the function dictates what the building will look like. So if I want to build a classroom, I determine the size, the number of people, and the shape. Okay, they're supposed to face this, and then it becomes a box, and then I build a box. You understand? So the function determines the form, but the other set of people believe that the form should determine the function. So I should do the form first. Like I should think of a very crazy form, right? That when you see it from the roadside, you're like, wow, what is
What
this?
school of thought do you belong to?
I belong to balance.
Okay, balance. You kind of saved yourself. Anyway.
I belong to balance. So I'm a crazy architect. In my process, right, I think of function very well, but it doesn't supersede form. Yes, I don't know if you get me. Yes, so the both are extremes. That's what I want to say. They both are extremes, and it's not good. In one end, you have boxes all over the town that looks uninteresting. I don't know if you get me. And on the other hand, you have aesthetically pleasing designs that are not functional.
Yeah.
And in explaining away, I've forgotten my question. Just-
Okay.
Mhm.
The question was biggest mistakes that you've seen people make when they focus too much on aesthetics.
Ooh, so in practice, right? It just basically at the end of the day has to do with economics and money. Because when
That
you
is very
when you focus on aesthetics and forget function,
yeah.
at the end of the day, a lot of money keep going into maintenance, right?
That's true.
Because if I'm designing for an area that is prone to flood, and I don't think of function, I don't think of the kind of roof. Imagine I do a low pitch roof, right? And it rains, let's say, 8 months out of 12. That roof is definitely going to leak. Do you understand? But because I want it to look modern, like the Abuja buildings in Asokoro or Yanguzape, right? So the roof will continue leaking, they'll continue doing maintenance. I don't know if you get my point. Yeah. So you will spend a lot of money, basically. The client.
That makes a lot of sense. I mentioned earlier, just before I asked that question, that I have put together some common examples of aesthetically pleasing building features that often turn, to be impractical or non-functional. And I'll just mention them. So I'll mention the aesthetical approach or the aesthetical appeal, and
Okay.
then the problem that, those features. So what you help me do is confirm, say something about it, or tell me if I'm
All
wrong
right.
or right.
Okay.
So the first is aesthetic appeal. We have buildings that look, when it comes to full glass walls or facades, the aesthetic appeal is that they look sleek, they look modern,
Yeah.
they give this luxury feel. But the problem is that in hot climates like in Nigeria, they trap heat, they increase cooling costs, and can compromise privacy and security. That's a yes for you, right?
And in between,
And in between.
yes.
Okay, go
So I've done a design
Mhm.
as part of my research work. It's just the approach. So you could do a building that is fully glazed with a full glass facade, but the kind of materials that you use, you understand? You need to do, for you to design for each climate, you need to do a research.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me dwell there a little bit.
Yes, please.
Like part of what I did for my thesis, right? I proposed a building, like a 50 floor building in central area. And before I did the proposal, I did some research, some simulations, some quasi experimental, and all that to calculate and determine the temperature of each space.
Okay.
You understand? If I use this material, if I use this method, how will that affect? I don't know if you get me.
Yes, I understand.
So most people that design don't do that. We don't do that. We just do, and then we go to the market and buy glass. I just want a glazed facade that looks fine, like the building I saw in the UK, right? And I just go and buy. I call a fabricator, an aluminium guy, tells me this one is cheaper, and I put it. And at the end of the day, that is attracting a lot of heat and spending all my money in cooling the space. I don't know if you get me. Yes, so there needs to be a balance. You research, you contract people to do for you that research. You understand? Design is a wholesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay, I love that. Let's move on to the next.
okay.
Excessive lighting fixtures. The aesthetic approach. Why are you laughing? You're laughing because this is the Abuja style.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Aesthetic appeal is decorative chandeliers and wall lights that make interior look so sophisticated. I create a lot of content, and sometimes when
Mm.
a well lit house is the content creators.
Yeah.
Like, in fact, that's where they want it.
Paradise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the problem is they can lead to glare over illumination, high energy bills for people on band A, with little functional benefit.
Yes, that is super true, and it's all about trends, right? So I agree with the energy efficiency side. I'm all about sustainability, and most times we don't put that into practice. We just look at what's trending on IG or TikTok, yes, or Pinterest. And I saw on Twitter someone said all the interiors in the new Nigerian buildings, they are all looking the same. They are looking like a hotel lobby or an Airbnb. So everybody has one kind of TV panel in all the houses you go to. There is
Shots
everybody. Yeah, so the houses are losing
fired.
their identity, right? Everybody wants to put a fake plant the parlor, and it's losing the
Why
identity.
make me feel bad? I want to buy fake plants.
So it's trend. It's trend. You want to follow the trend.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
Okay, that makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, I was listening to a podcast and someone said, because you splash white paint on the house, you're just calling it luxury.
Exactly. We don't want to go there. We
I
won't
get
finish
you.
today.
I get you. Okay, so let's move on to the next. Narrow or non-opening windows. The aesthetic appeal is clean lines and symmetry in design, but the problem is poor ventilation, reduced natural airflow, and discomfort during power outages or hot weather.
You know, I said,
No, I really want to know.
because we are all guilty
Yes.
of doing that. Sometimes your client tells you that I want those slim windows. Sometimes they would drive you. And I remember one time I was designing on the laptop. Do you understand? There should be a ratio of airflow that's coming into a space, right? Some clients want very large living rooms, large bedrooms, and they want you to put those slim windows. And then it's like you're arguing with them.
Yeah.
I remember one time I was designing on my PC, and the client took me and drove me. I was showing him that this is the kind of. It's like he thought I wasn't understanding.
Yeah.
They want the trend, right? And then at the end of the day, you spend more in maintaining those buildings, in cooling, because those slim windows, they don't provide sufficient ventilation, right?
You are talking about sufficient ventilation as it relates to, you spend a lot in cooling and all of those, but we even forget the health hazards that it causes. And someone told me a story just recently about a particular health hazard. What happened is she had just had a baby,
Okay.
and they realized that the baby at night will wake up and continue crying, and this was not even a heat problem. You know, the baby wake up at night and continue crying, and then the baby was continuously running, was having running nose, yes, cold, but the environment was warm. So they kept wondering what the issue was, and then they took this child to the pediatrician. You would be amazed at what the pediatrician said that solved the problem. No drug, nothing. The pediatrician said, just open your windows, allow the blinds fall, but leave the windows open. And the lady said in 24 hours, her child recovered. And it was like magic.
Wow.
I'm telling you.
Magic.
So we forget those health hazards that these things can cause.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the next.
Okay.
Floating staircases or glass stair treads.
So,
The aesthetic appeal.
yeah.
Futuristic.
Okay.
Yeah, is it futuristic? Futuristic
Yeah,
and
futuristic.
visually, lit. Problem is they can be unsafe, slippery, and difficult to clean, especially for families with children or elderly people.
Yes. Thank you for mentioning families with children and elderly people. So every for architecture, I told you it's problem solving. Basically, if you want to define architecture design, it's problem solving. For every one of my friends, let me digress a bit. He
Yeah,
posted a design he did, and on Twitter, and a random person commented that he would that this is a nice design, but he will have wanted a larger living room and a smaller terrace. You understand? Then the guy replied him that that's why it's not for you. Do you get? That's why it's not for you. This is a design that a client gave me a brief, and this is tailored.
To the client's
I can't
preference.
carry this dress. I want to wear it,
Yeah.
and I will say I would have preferred a yellow color. You chose this material. I don't know if you get me. So for every design there is a brief, right? So the issue is that our people go out, they go abroad, they go to hotels, they stay in luxury places, they see glass staircases, they see lights, and then they want it in their homes here. But all those things are designed specifically for a specific user. So every design, you can't go to Twitter and pick a design. There is a design that fits you. I don't know if you get me. Yeah, so either of them works. It's just it's specific.
There's a design that fits the functionality or the
Yes.
operations, the modus operandi of your own home, your
Yes.
own family. It makes
Exactly.
A lot of sense.
Are you 80 years old? I don't know if you get me. Why are we having? I remember one project I did. This man is over 70, and I don't know, for some reason he wants. There's an elevator in the house, but before you enter, you will climb up, you will go down, you will climb up, you go down. And this
At
man is
70.
yeah. So he saw it somewhere and he wanted lights in all those staircases. But before you get to that elevator, you are going to suffer.
Yes.
I don't know
What's
if you
the
get.
essence? It's even supposed to
So
help.
it,
Why would you want to go through that kind of
so
stress
before
to get
you
into the
before you
elevator?
enter the entrance, there are like 3 steps. You climb 5 stairs to enter. He wants those steps like a bank. I don't know if you get.
I get you.
Yeah.
I think another thing that is worthy of mention is the fact that when we go to hotels and then stay, we forget that there are hardly people who live permanently in hotels.
Exactly.
Hotels are meant for short stay, brief stay, and all of those. So when you take all those features and you want to put them in places where you live permanently, I mean, it is worthy to note that you should think about the
Yeah.
disadvantages or
You're living with your children. Your
Yeah.
parents come around. Don't consider all those things.
we talked about all white features in homes. I had a family come stay with us for a while, and they had a 2-year-old child. Oh my god! And my walls are white. I was running round the house because I was so concerned. And this child just started school,
Yeah.
so my white walls were their canvas. The child actually wrote on those white walls before they left, right? So I mean,
Yeah, definitely.
those are things to think about. Okay.
Speaking about white walls, I remember when we were growing up. So I have like 6 siblings, right? So like there was always a child in my. I was like, in the current dispensation, people say I want to finish giving birth,
Yeah.
right? In my household, even while I was in university,
They were-
they were still giving birth, right? So I remembered every time my dad usually changes the paint in our living room. Every time, like if we give birth to a child and he starts crawling, they're just going to go and change the paint because they'll put something that can be erased. I don't know if you get me.
Yes.
Yes.
It makes a lot of sense. Okay, so what we are going to do is we're going to take a breather, and then when we come
Okay.
back, we'll still talk about some of these features
All right.
and then some of the problems that comes with them. We'll be right back, audience.
This land is mine. It's not yours. Look at my documents here to prove that it is mine. This land is not your own, no. Oga, you better go and look for your own land. See my own document here. I don't pay for this land, did it? Now my name did the documents like this. Look at my documents.
But this land has always been my own land. I've known this land. I've had this land for a while now. It is mine.
Land dispute is as old as civilization itself. From building collapse to authorized demolition, boundary disputes, and even encroachment by real estate developers. The good news is that you can avoid these property issues and harness opportunities in the housing sector with the right information. Join us as we discuss everything real estate and the construction industry on the program Property Talk.
Airing live every Monday at 12:30 p.m. on
Armed Forces Radio 107.7 FM, Abuja. Property Talk is proudly brought to you by WORIN Nigeria. Don't miss it.
Okay, welcome back to the show. This is Property Talk brought to you by WORIN Nigeria, your trusted platform for everything real estate, construction, and buildings. It's right about time where we have our property alert. We bring to you properties we have available for purchases and rent. And on today's property alert, we have Kuje Property Alert. We have 40 units of 4-bedroom terrace duplex with payment plan available in a choice and strategic location in Kuje. We have a fenced plot measuring about 1,200 square meters with FCDA R of O. Airport property alert. We have aviation village close to the airport, and there are various sizes of land ranging from 150 square meters to 600 square meters with title documents C of O. We also have 5 units of 4-bedroom fully detached duplex going up for sale, and it is seated on about 450 square meter plot of land. This property is located just at Sabon Lube layout, opposite Glory Dome Dunamis Church. And the third on the Airport Road axis, we have 6 units of 4-bedroom terrace duplex, opposite River Park Estate, close to NUT office, and many more vetted properties along the axis. Idu Property Alert, we have 4 hectares of land with titled FCDA RFO. We have plots of land ranging from 150 square meters to 600 square meters with title document FCDA RFO. We will let you know the number to call us on just before the show ends. You can reach out to us after the show for this property. So in the studio we have Architect Faith, and it has been such an interesting conversation. I've just been laughing the whole time, because this is something that we can all relate to. So we're talking about some of the aesthetics that architects or individuals, let me not blame architects, some of the, because sometimes it's the client.
Okay.
Not even sometimes, most times it's the client, right? The features, the aesthetically pleasing features that they want in their buildings, and then the problems that come with this aesthetic. So the next, we've said a couple.
Yeah.
The next is oversized entry doors. We are seeing those coming up now, and the aesthetic appeal is that it is grand and impressive. Have you seen some of those entrance doors on TikTok? Oh,
Yeah.
I want some of those buildings. But the problem is heavy to operate, expensive to install, and inefficient in space and energy usage.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
So we have freestanding bathtubs in small bathrooms. The aesthetic appeal is that it is luxurious and hotel-like.
Yeah.
And then the problem is that they take up too much space and can make small bathrooms feel cramped or difficult to clean around.
In fact, it's lethal.
Yeah?
Yeah, because most of those freestanding bathtubs
Yeah.
are ceramic. Right? So if you have it in a small bathrooms, imagine you sleep. I don't know if you get me.
Yeah.
They use those in very bathrooms that are bigger than this whole studio. That's where there is a section for the bathtub. But we just import the bathtub and forget the design.
Wow. Okay, let's look at mirror walls. Aesthetic appeal is that they make spaces look larger and more elegant.
Mhm.
And the problem is that they require constant maintenance. They show fingerprints easily and can be overwhelming or disorienting.
Totally agree.
Okay. Now let's look at rooftop gardens.
Hmm.
The show is over. The show is over. Because we have a ton of rooftops. Okay, so let's look at rooftop gardens without proper drainage. The aesthetic appeal is eco-friendly, just like you mentioned, and a modern look. But the problem is water leakage and maintenance challenges and structural load issues if not well engineered.
The last point, well engineered, well designed. So the major issue we have in all this is that we think the construction architecture space is just copy and paste.
Yeah.
Everything has to be well engineered, even the kind of plants you put there. So I like plants. I have like over maybe 30 plants in my apartment. So when I started keeping plants, I noticed that it was bringing insects.
That's correct.
What do you call these things? Mosquitoes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you get me. So they are kind of plants you keep.
Yeah.
I don't know if you get me. The engineering, the construction, there is a way it's done. All those things are possible. Yeah. In fact, we go how many years ago? 100 BC. They were doing all these things, the hanging gardens of Babylon.
Yeah.
There is a way to do it very well.
Yes.
We don't do it very well. That's
You
the
just copy
challenge.
and you paste.
Yes.
You are totally correct. And some time ago, I decided to, because I started to keep plants too. I just got tired because, maintaining plants are a lot of
They
work. I had acquired this, I don't know what the official name is, but they call it snake plant.
I know that.
Yes, and I did not carry out any research. I apologize. But, I just had the plant and I was just waiting this plant. And then one day the plant just, it gave up. And after I gave up, I decided, I went to carry out research on those plants. And I realized that, there is a purpose for every plant. Plants do not just grow. And then I saw lavender that allows or that makes it easier for you to sleep.
Yeah.
People don't understand these things. And somebody will just
Exactly.
go and take lavender now and plant it outside.
Exactly.
Right. So, all these things. Okay, let's move on to the next. Our time is fast spent.
Okay.
We have minimalist interiors with no storage. Minimalist. A lot of people are also going for minimalist designs now, and the aesthetic appeal is that it is clean and uncluttered. But the problem is lack of storage. It leads to everyday mess, doesn't it? Defeating the purpose of minimalism.
A minimalist interior should be designed for a minimalist.
Don't leave me. Don't leave me. Don't leave me.
Yeah, you remember what I mentioned earlier that everybody's interior is looking like
You know
a
what I'm
hotel
thinking
lobby.
about? I'm thinking about having a minimalist design, and then you have your in-laws living with you. You have that's almost impractical.
Do you get? Like for me personally, I'm a minimalist. I would enjoy a minimalist interior, right? But the girl I'm dating,
Yeah.
she's not minimalist. So when we marry, I can't go and do a minimalist.
Right.
We'll be fighting.
That
We will
makes
even
sense.
divorce. I don't know if you get me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I want to have a family, there should be a kind of. Some people have like 2 or 3 houses, right? There is a vacation house. There is a house in Abuja for going to work. I don't know if you get me. So minimalist interior should be for minimalists.
Okay, so let me just ask you a question. With you and your girlfriend, what are you guys going to settle for?
Of course, the man has to settle for what the woman wants.
Oh, nice. That's so nice. That's so thoughtful.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on. Oddly shaped rooms or curved walls. Aesthetic appeal is that they are artistic and unique, but the problem is that they are difficult to furnish, decorate, or make efficient use of space.
Very true.
Okay, okay. Well, it has been such an insightful session and, very, very interesting. But before we wrap up, I have
Okay.
just one question for you. We have like 2 minutes to get out of here. What advice would you give to young architects or upcoming realtors trying to establish themselves in the Nigerian real estate space?
So first of all, I don't think I'm in the right position to give advice to young architects because I'm a young upcoming architect. I'm not established.
It doesn't matter.
Okay,
Like
but-
you said, there's always someone looking up to you.
Yeah, but from experience, right? Especially when it has to do with the topic we are discussing,
Yeah.
you should be able to make a lot of compromises, right? For you to make headway and progress
Yeah.
in the business. For instance, Zadi that I spoke about earlier on, she worked for someone, which is my next point. You should work for somebody, right? Whether you like the way I've worked for people that their design philosophy is opposite. In fact, sometimes they give me a tax. I feel like going to cry. Like I hate what I'm designing. I don't know if you get me. I hate it so much, but I have to do it, right? Because you are gaining some experience. Zara did work for someone for years before she. In fact, people that I work for, they don't even know that I'm the crazy architect. Do you understand? Yeah. So you take instructions, work for someone, and compromise. Basically, that's what I would say.
That's very interesting. Thank you so much, Architect Faith. It was such an insightful and interesting conversation. To our listeners, remember that every building starts with an idea, but just like Architect Faith mentioned, great architecture starts with purpose, the reason why you are building what you are building. If you'd like to connect with us, we are at WORIN Nigeria on all social media platforms, and WORIN is spelled WORIN. We are building the future, one conversation at a time. So we'll come your way same time next week. And until then, my name is Susan Ope. See you next week.
This land is mine. It's not yours. Look at my documents here to prove that it is mine. This land